Hi folks, welcome along to another episode of the Endless Celts Podcast. This is episode 89. I'm pleased to welcome along beside me John and Willie. How are these guys?
Oh, good, mate.
Good. It's good to be back as well. It's been a while.
I was going to say that,
You've been out longer than Julian.
I know. There'll be people watching this like, who the fuck's this guy? I'm John, by the way.
Aye. a new guest.
I'm the new guest. Aye.
When was the last time you were on? It would have been the Ross McCall one, eh?
Well, the Ross McCall one was the Ross McCall interview, but before that, just a regular episode. I couldn't even tell you what number it was. It was a while ago, though.
No. And
So for
look
any new viewers,
look how we've flourished without you.
I know, man. I'm so proud of the work he's have done.
Nah, it's good to hear you back. Seriously.
Nah,
But
it's good to
anyway,
be
we'll
back.
get on with the show. So we'll just obviously start off with the sad news that obviously our former manager Wim Jansen passed away. So just like to sort of pay tribute to him, and I just want to read a wee bit. It was words quipped by a commentator called Roddy Forsyth back when we clinched the league title, and I just want to read these words because I just think it's quite poignant for what we're talking about. So it went scarves, banners, jerseys, green and white hoops, raised in triumph. It may not have been a vintage championship, but believe me, it will taste as sweet to these Celtic supporters as anything they have ever secured, because they have stopped Rangers from taking away the history book record of 10 in a row, and perhaps the best tribute should be paid simply by listening for a few seconds to the Celtic fans singing their beloved anthem, You'll Never Walk Alone. Now, for me, that anytime I hear that, it gives me shivers, and for me, that sort of sums up what Wim gave us in that solitary year he was in charge, and the legacy he left behind. There's only one word for it: legend. And I would just sort of like to say on behalf of all of us at the podcast that we'd like to pass on our sincerest condolences to his friends and family at this difficult time. R.I.P. Vim.
Well said, mate. Well said. Hail.
Right. So we'll just move on right onto the podcast and onto some lighter stuff, and we'll touch on obviously the game that happened last night at Tynecastle. I mean, no Kyogo, no Rogic, no McGregor, no Turnbull, no Maeda, no problem, eh? Certainly until the last half hour, anyway. I mean, for me, I thought we started all right. I thought Hearts pressed really well, put us under pressure, and like you expect at Tynecastle in any time, especially under the lights. Thought we weathered that, and then sort of came into our own and got our goals, and never really looked back in the first half after the first 20 minutes. And then obviously the second half was a bit different to dig it out. But I mean, what was your sort of thoughts on the game, John?
I agree with you, mate. It's the first few minutes of the game was a wee bit shaky. Like, struggled to find our feet a wee bit. But I think for the most part, we dominated that second half, and I thought we were outstanding. We got the two cracking goals during it as well. A lot of standout performances, and like you said, there was a lot of guys in that team missing, be it injury or international duty or whatever. But the guys that came in and took their place, O'Reilly's debut as well, they played their part, and I thought it was a great first half. The second half, we started all right, a wee bit more of the same at the start of the second half, but then we just kind of wane a bit. I don't know if that was down to tired legs or whatever the case may be, but we definitely didn't make it easy, like you said, for that last half hour or so. We made it difficult for ourselves. But we've done the job, which is the main thing, and secured the 3 points, so can't complain.
I mean, I have to agree with that. At the end of the day, right now, it's performances are great, but the result is all that matters, especially when we're behind Rangers in the race at the moment. But come to yourself, Willie, what was your sort of take on the game?
I just echo everything you said. I was going to you're bang on when you're saying about the performances, and it's nice to nice to put teams away 5-6-0 and stuff. But if you're winning games and getting the 3 points, that's all that matters. I thought we were excellent first half. At halftime, I thought we were going to go on and win 3-4-5-0. I thought they were superb. I thought there was, I know we'll go on to the individual performances, but I thought there were several guys that were absolutely outstanding. To go away to one of the hardest venues we'll go to this season, I really believe that. I think Hearts are a proper decent side this year. We had a depleted squad. I mean, O'Reilly played and he's only been in the door 2 minutes. And play like we did the first half. We're always susceptible to the counter-attack, which I thought second half we were looking a bit shady sometimes. But to go away and get the 3 points, that's all that matters. Some big performances for a few of the guys, and absolutely delighted. Great night's work.
Aye, I totally agree with that. And I think just what you touched on there, Willie, about, like, say, O'Reilly just coming into the team straight away and turning in a good performance. I think it's great that we're actually signing players now, and they're pretty much ready to go into the team. I mean, Hatate, O'Reilly have came in and they've made, like, no the difference, but they've had big performances in the opening couple of matches. And I think that we've not had that for a long time. I mean, under Neil Lennon, you would buy players and you think they were just going to go right into the team, and you to wait 6 months to see them. So it's refreshing on that sort of side of things. But just going on to sort of individual performances, I think we probably just start with Haggis, Neeps and Hatate's goal. I mean, that was... had to get that in there, eh? It's absolutely outstanding, Potter. But what a strike. What was you? And I mean, Giacomakis as well. I thought another great performance, and he got his goal again. And what a bit of can't mind what the word is, improvisation to get that into the net. What was your thoughts on the goals in both their performances, John?
Hatate, since he's came in, has been an absolute revelation, man. I think Celtic fans have just fell in love with him the same way we did with Kyogo. I mean, that's what he came first. His debut, the man of the match performance. Then that game last night, he scored a goal like that. And again, by the way, he was up there for man of the match as well for me. I thought he had an absolutely incredible game. He definitely looks the part. And like you mentioned, Ross, see these guys coming in. One of the things that we were screaming for prior to that transfer window, or even just prior before the start of the season, was how much we needed players to cover in depth. But now you've got guys like Iguchi coming in who looks decent. We've got Hatate coming in who looks like he's cemented his place in that team at this point. Who do you drop him for? And he's put Ange in a really difficult position now, because we've got a really stacked, talented midfield. Because when you've got the likes of Turnbull back, you've got Rogic back to full fitness, and you're having to pick, because he only really plays with the three. So it's going to be interesting to see. But the fact that we've got that kind of calibre of talent there, and he's able to rotate them, is going to serve as well, I think, in the long run, especially this latter half of this season. As for Giacomakis, I mean, I think there's been a few years I've been a wee bit critical of him, because he's no kind of hit the ground running, but at the same time, he's not really had many chances. He's had a couple of injury problems before he came in, and people always refer back to that penalty miss, and maybe that put a dent in his confidence a wee bit. But he needed this. I think he's needed this a wee bit of run of game time and a couple of goals to sort of build his confidence back up and show us what he's capable of, because there's definitely a goal scorer there. You don't just finish top goal scorer in the Dutch league if you've not got it. So
exactly,
for me, I mean, he showed what he's capable of doing. His movement's good. He's strong on the ball as well. But that touch to score his goal, like he says, the improvisation to do that, the creativity, and the technique to hit it the way he did, and the confidence to do it as well, just shows that there's a player in there. And I think that would have done him the world of good. So I think going forward, we're definitely in a much better place. Obviously, we're plagued with injuries at the minute and a couple of international call-ups, but see, once all that's out the way and these guys start coming back in, I think we're going to be flying.
Aye, I mean, when you look at it, when players like they've obviously had to go away in international duty, a couple of them, and then there's some injuries, obviously, with the thuggery last week at Alloa. But I mean, after the Alloa game, I was worried about the players coming in. I was worried about the midfield. You're worried about who the front three is going to be, and I think that most of my worries were put to bed last night in that first half. That these guys will come in and that will not take a lot away for the team, which is in turn has shown that we've now, in this short space of time, built a squad that's got strength and depth, and it's just good. It's just bodes well for us going forward. But just coming to you, William, just tell me what you thought of the two finishes in general for both of them.
Superb. Patati's just what a player, man. He's my new hero. I love him. See, down to the whole like Kyogo, back to the Alloa game. He's at half time. He's on the bench and he's high fiving every player as they come out. Just a proper team player. Love just, and he's got everything in that midfield. I think we've really found a gem. He's decent at tackle. He's range of passing. And like for his goal, he gave the ball away and he didn't actually win it back. But I think it was his high press that kind of led to the mistake for him to get the ball back. And then what a strike! I think it's by Gordon before he even thinks it's left Patati's foot. Superb finish. And what a player I think we've got. And I think like what you're touching on, it's the biggest thing for me is because we've got the depth again. Is like we've been missing Turnbull for however many months, and nobody's batted an eyelid. I think there's people on Twitter. I was sitting on Twitter the other day, and there was a question about what your first 11 would be, and not one person's got David Turnbull in it. And if you said that last season, if we missed Turnbull the last 3 months of last season, we would have been up creek without a paddle because he was carrying our team. Now he's not in the side, and we're still flying. So it speaks volumes. And I really like Jake.
Have we lost him?
Again. Just for anybody that's watching this, we apologise obviously for the connection issue. All right,
he's back. He's back.
You cut out there a bit, William. I know. I was just. Go ahead, mate.
I was.
He's not away again, is he?
I think he is.
See, because he's recording for his garage, and he's having to do it. He's got broadband issues, so he's having to do it for a Wi-Fi hotspot. So he's dropped him in and out. So obviously we apologise for that. But
I think he's getting the broadband sorted in time for the next.
Once he gets it sorted, we'll be all right.
We'll be all good.
Minute, he's back again. Welcome back.
There he's there.
Shambles.
So you were saying Giacomakis?
Aye, something about Giacomakis.
That's what it is, mate.
I was saying it on the Tuesday's pod as well. I think that with Angie's style, how we get the ball wide and create chances and get plenty of crosses in the box, it's like made for Giacomakis. He should score barely loads of goals in this team, and it's a totally different option to the likes of Kyogo or Maeda. I thought he led the line brilliant last night, and he did all the dirty stuff as well. And he proper tussle with Halkett all night. So there was the two of them, and obviously his goal was just superb. Great finish. So I thought the two of them had a great game.
Aye, and I mean, just what you're saying there about Giacomakis, I mean, Kyogo's injured, Maeda's away on international duty, and he comes in, and again, he's scoring goals. Maeda came in, he scored goals. Kyogo, we know what he does. That's three guys in there that can play the central role. Two of them can also play it wide, and they're bringing the goals to the team that they've brought. I just think that, like, our forward line, for years we played one up top, and you were screaming for two up top. Now essentially we've got three up top, and then another three to come in, and we can just alternate it all the time. It's so exciting. It's brilliant. I think the way he's added to the team, Postecoglou, has been absolutely phenomenal, and they're all exciting players. It's just great. It's honestly, I've not enjoyed watching a Celtic team as much as I enjoy watching this Celtic team in a long time, and I think he's probably echoed that.
Definitely.
But It's great. I mean, even coming on to like say O'Reilly as well, coming into the midfield, first game, comes in, does really well. Doesn't look nervous, just looks a proper player. He's got a delivery on him. What did you think of his debut performance, John?
I mean, it couldn't. He had a great performance. I mean, I think the only blemish he had was that sort of handball incident. But I mean, that wasn't his fault.
No.
But other than that, I thought he had. I mean, you can't really ask for a better start. He played really well. We got the 3 points. But like you said, his delivery's been great. I mean, we've been missing that a wee bit since Turnbull's been out. But he looks like he's somebody who we can rely on in these sort of set pieces, whip my ball and it pokes for corners and things like that. I'd like to see him how he fares free kick wise, because he looked like he's got a decent peg on him. So it'd be interesting to see how that unfolds going forward. But I thought it was a assured performance. He was like confident, and he didn't look out of place. He looked like he'd been playing there for months with everybody. Like you said, he just came in out the blue. And he's been thrust into that side, and he played there with everybody like he'd been there for months. So, it looks like we've got a bit of another bargain on our hands and another top player. And there's a lot of comparisons being drawn between him and Rogic. I think it's way too early to be calling that, but I can see why they say it.
Aye.
He's not quite got the feet Rogic has in terms of beating a player, though, or at least at this point he's not showing that. It's going to be very hard pressed to sort of live up to that. But I can see why he's getting these comparisons, especially in terms of him holding up a ball and his ability to pass. And he definitely looks a player. I was very happy with his performance yesterday.
I was impressed with how, I don't know if it's Ange's instilled it into him really quickly or if that's his game. I was impressed with how quickly he moved the ball on. Wasn't he like holding on to it for too long? He was just keeping the ball moving all the time, and he got his assist as well last night for Giacomakis. I'm sure it was something played it into him, wasn't it?
He got himself into some cracking. It was He got himself into some cracking positions as well. He opportunities to score goals, and that's what you want: is guys creating their own space and getting into these bits, because I think that's something that we've sort of been missing. Because we know how compact defences are against us. You dominate possession against most of these teams, and they all sit back. Every man behind the ball, and you're trying to break them down. So to have players like Kyogo and Maeda, guys like Jota who can sort of unlock defences, get in behind people, create space, he looks like another player who is capable of doing that for us. So I'm definitely happy.
I think probably the biggest compliment you could pay the midfield three last night was we probably didn't miss McGregor as much as we expected to. But I mean, of course you miss him. He's your captain and he's absolutely quality, but it wasn't as glaring as what we probably thought before the game. But moving on to another player, I'll come to you, Willie. This is one that me and you have had our sort of reservations up and down about. I think you know who I'm going to say, Mr. Starfelt. But I mean, like I say, I've been up and down with him, not quite sure. But again, last night I thought he was very assured. One of his duels. Never made a mistake last night for the first time in a wee while. That's a really good game. What was your thoughts on him?
I totally agree. I've been quite a critic, to say the least. Like I say, it's just to start his Celtic career, I just felt like he had that one mistake in him per game that led to a proper goal scoring chance. But I think he's starting to settle in. I think he has been very good the last few weeks and before the break there. And I thought last night was one of his best games for us. I thought he was excellent. We need him in there, especially where we've got a bit of a weakness with these set pieces. There was a few corners again last night that you're sitting with your head in your hands thinking, geez. But I thought he was excellent. And he's getting a lot more confident with bringing the ball out for the back as well, I think. So I thought he was superb. And to touch what you said on as well, Ross, I think you're bang on about that midfield last night. There was never one point I thought, we're missing McGregor tonight. We're needing McGregor in the middle of the park. I thought the three of them were excellent. And to touch on O'Reilly as well, just quickly, I thought he was. It was as good a debut as you'll see. I think he got man of the match in the end. The chances he created, I do see the similarities with what people are saying with Rogic. I think he carries the ball great, and he's obviously find a pass, and and his delivery was excellent. I think it was a really, really proper eye-opening performance for us with certain individuals. I thought we were excellent, and as much as like the last 10 minutes, your bumhole was going a wee bit. I thought it's as good as a performance, and you know what? Sometimes these performances I think are better than 5-0 victories, the ones that you've got to grind out in the end. And that's what champions are made of. It's not about going out and putting everybody to the sword every week. It's about grinding these results out as well. And I thought we were by far the better side and deserved the 3 points. So it was an excellent night, in my opinion.
I mean, I totally agree with that there. I think performances and results like last night are sort of character building for, certainly as a team. It tells you more about the team and where they're at, I think, sometimes mentally. And I think that they proved last night that they're up for the fight when again, the back's to the wall and stuff, because it was, they can still defend their goal. And you touched on the corners there. I know where you're coming from, but I think we defended our box generally pretty well throughout the game. So I agree. I totally agree with what you've just said there.
I thought Bitton, by the way, see Bitton as well. See at the start of the season, I genuinely wouldn't have been bothered if we lost him or not. It was possibly because we've been playing him centre half for the past 3 years.
Aye,
absolutely is. By the way, can I just say that was absolutely seamless there. That's where I was going to go into next. What a guy!
I see now as well, William. I think it's disappointing when he misses out in the first 11. He's been that good for us this season. What a transformation!
I totally agree with that. I mean, I've been saying for a wee while now that as a number 6, as a midfielder, Bitton is more than good. He's very good. And for a long time, I've said it in previous podcasts, he was judged as a Celtic player being a defender when that's not what he is. And everybody was saying he was right. He did make sometimes his temperament, even last night. He was lucky to stay on the park.
There was a couple of
because I mean he's handballed that. He's meant it. It's about him, and he was already booked. But I just thought it's weird because I don't know what you think, John. But like he's coming into the team. He's not playing every week, but he's come into the team last night and he's made captain. I think it was deserved. Like I was quite more than happy for him to be captain. What did you think?
I mean, I think the captaincy was sort of in part of obviously how long he's been in the team. It was between him and Forrest in terms of like length of tenure, but
Joe Hart
somebody. I thought Joe Hart would have been made captain. Honestly, when we knew Carmack was out, I was expecting it to be Joe Hart, so I was a wee bit surprised when it was Bitton. But I mean,
he's done it already this season.
But he done an outstanding job in the middle of the park, and I think if you're going to have somebody as your captain, you want him in that sort of area, that position, because he sort of controls the midfield and he's able to communicate with his back and front lines. But what William was saying there about him, like he's been judged a lot lately, which unfairly on his performances out of position as a defender in recent years. But he's shown when he gets into the position that he's naturally plays and where he's comfortable, he's outstanding and he's solid, and you can rely on him as well. And one of the things that we all spoke about early on in this podcast when we first started it, before we started making signings, and even after the first window, was bringing in a midfielder with a bit of dig and stuff like that. And I think Bitton gives us that. Like, I mean, seeing Bitton come in and then seeing the performances he's been putting in and having that sense of reliability gives me a bit of confidence. And before we were on agreement, we needed a player to come in like that. Since we lost Scott Brown, we've not had anybody in there. But I think Bitton can be that. And he's shown that he's got it in him, I think. And I thought he was one of the better players on the park last night for me. I thought it was a great performance.
Aye, I agree with that. I think he's quite deceiving, Bitton, as well, because he just looks like a big, tall, lanky guy that's no got like digger that about him, but he has got a bit of dig. He knows how to break up the play, but he's also quite graceful and he can actually play. I think people forget that.
He's got very good passing range.
Mm-hmm.
And he's one of I like that's why I like him in the number 6 as well, because he's quite happy to take key positions and have one touch passes here and there, and but he breaks up the play as well. I think he's been superb this year, absolutely brilliant.
Aye, and when he takes a shot for 40 yards, he's got Ryan Christie's boots on.
By the way, can I just touch on that? We remember we were saying it was a while ago because it was when I was last on. I was saying about wishing people, or at least wishing players, because we seem to do, the way we've been playing under Ange is, like I say, we're dominating possession and that, and it's absolutely incredible to watch. But we've all noticed that it's the same thing all the time. You're utilising your left and right. So Jota and Abada really, and it's crossing the ball into the box, and it's a packed box, and you've got guys like Kyogo there who were never getting on the end of high balls or anything like that. So we'd always been saying, I wish we'd take more chances for outside the box and tested them for a bit of range and sort of drew them out and didn't like give them something to think about. Hatate proved last night that taking your chance for that kind of range can bear fruits, essentially. So, like, why no? But it's Sky Sports, and I don't believe this fucking stuff for a minute. But it's Sky Sports.
I know you're good. I couldn't believe it.
Me too. We've had the most shots outside the box this year.
Aye, by about 40.
Aye. I actually sat there and went, "Fucking hell, we've been like."
I think it was like 175, but I think Ryan Christie had 145 of them before he left.
I genuinely think they're counting terrible crosses as well. They must be, because see, watching the games, there's absolutely no way we've taken that many.
I don't know, like I think Abada and Jota like to cut in and get a shot away, so I reckon the majority of them could be.
But are they really outside the box though? They tend to be like round about the edges of the box, but they're generally inside, for what I remember. And I don't know. I was really surprised when it came up, and they were like,
I mean, I think we all were.
Well, I was
like, what?
If Ailey Barber's saying it, I believe it 100%.
Aye, whatever she says is gospel. It's fine.
Aye, love her, man.
Except for when she's pandering to Chris Boyd.
Might come at you,
by the way. Who was it? Was it Andy Walker? Just going back to Hatate's goal, was it Andy Walker that saved a prime Craig Gordon would have saved that?
Aye.
What a
He also said something about us we need to get a VAR in because Giacomakis' goal was offside, and then said that the Hearts one was touch and go.
Aye. He's a wee turncoat, man.
Aye,
he talks mince.
Just get off the telly, man. Get in the seat.
Absolute mince. But anyway, moving on swiftly.
Moving on.
Knocking everyone at Sky Sports. I finally just want to talk about, obviously, Jota. I think he was absolutely outstanding last night. Certainly in the first half, like a lot of our players. He just runs at his man and almost every time beats him, gets a good ball in, gets a shot off. I thought he was brilliant last night. But I want to sort of touch on, and this one's for John first. I want to touch on the relationship with him and Greg Taylor, because I think personally that they're building up quite a good relationship down that side. Nah, I think they are, and I think Greg Taylor being in the left-hand side, I think brings more balance to the team than, say, a Juranovic playing in there. I just think, for me, they work really well and they're building up a really good understanding. I know it's coming for you, but you take the floor, John.
First of all, I just want to comment on Jota. Right, I think he's absolutely incredible. He's phenomenal. He's too good for this league. We'll be honest. Like Van Dijk is when he came in, we all seen it. We knew that he was destined for bigger and better things. He strolled it. He made it look easy. Jota is very much doing the exact same thing, and it's an absolute joy to watch. And we have to sign him. Like there's no two ways about it. If there's a deal to be done there, we need to do everything we can to try and tempt him to stay. I know it ultimately comes down to the player.
Oh yeah.
But he looks happy, and he looks like he's. I think we touched on, like, he's shopman, IKEA and all that. You don't do that kind of stuff if you're only here for another couple of months. But
still need bellies, don't you?
It's paramount that we try and get him to stay. In regards to his partnership with Greg Taylor, Jota is at the calibre of player where anybody playing round about him, he's going to make look good, or the partnership is going to look good. It doesn't matter who you play there. Scales and Jota linked up well in the games that Scales have played. Juranovic and Jota linked up well in the games that they played. So, do I think what?
Do you think that, and this is no slant on Scales, by the way, because I like him, but do you think, would you trust Scales over Greg Taylor in that match last night at Tynecastle?
I would, yes.
Defensively,
Scales,
up against it? Don't know.
The Scales, for what I've seen, the Scales, he's not put a foot wrong. And this is another guy. He's much bigger than Taylor is. He's stronger on the ball. I would say he's as good as, if not better, passer than the ball.
Taylor. He is. He's got a better delivery.
He's got a better final ball than Greg Taylor. Greg Taylor I don't know what it is with Taylor. I don't know why. He's not a better
defender.
Well, that remains to be seen. But you know who is a better defender? Juranovic. And we briefly touched on this last night, Ross, right? Juranovic is a better defender than Taylor. Come on.
I don't
think so, no. On the right,
on the left. Even on the left. See when Taylor was out injured, right?
When Juranovic is on the left, I think he gets taken away from his game a bit.
Nah. Are you telling me, so you honestly saying when Taylor was out injured and Juranovic was our sort of mainstay on that left side, that he wasn't contributing?
Oh, he was, absolutely. But I think he's contributing more on the right-hand side than what he was on the left.
I think when you look at our back four, right, Carter Vickers is a shoe-in. That's the first name in the team sheet in terms of defence. Absolutely. At the minute, Starfelt's the other man. It's a bit unfortunate for Welsh because Welsh, for me, has been absolutely solid. He's been superb. And you know that if need be, you can call on him and there's a bit of confidence as fans. We've got confidence in him, right? On that left side, it's a position that we've been screaming for to get quality. And Scales maybe isn't the sort of level we were kind of expecting or hoping for in terms of that left side of defence. Bolingoli, by all accounts, he's done. But so you've got Taylor, Scales, and that's in Montgomery. But Montgomery's what he'll
be going in loan,
which is a good move for him. But we've only got the two boys, right? And then you've got Juranovic, who is comfortable playing in the left. He's shown that. He's proved it. Ange obviously is confident in playing in the left. And Juranovic himself obviously doesn't care where he's playing as long as he's playing. When we had Juranovic on the left, we then had Ralston at right back, right? Ralston, for me, the fact that we're dropping, and this is what really gets me, right? And like I said, Taylor's probably a really nice guy. I don't have anything against him as a person, but as a player, I don't think he's good enough. I don't. I just think as a player, he's nowhere near good enough. I've thought that for day one when we signed him. I was like, why are we signing him?
Well,
I've never understood it. And
I wanted us to sign him, and to be honest with you, at times his deliveries, it's not great, but
he's passing as well. I don't know how many times we've lost possession through him making poor decisions in terms of him passing, or how many clear-cut chances we maybe had if somebody with a decent delivery get that ball into the box, and how many times he's fluffed it. But listen, as I was saying, for me, he's just no the kind of quality or that level of player that I would expect. He's good enough for like sort of a Kilmarnock and that, but like he's at that level.
It's better than that.
He's really
he's had Scotland caps. For me, to be honest with you, for me,
do we need to start rhyming off players who have had Scotland caps that don't deserve them?
No, but he did. But anyway, for me, when Greg Taylor is in our back four, is named in our back four to start a Celtic game, I'm happier. I just like him in there. He fills me with confidence. He's assured. He doesn't give up. He doesn't give up his area. He's the odd time he gets caught out with a ball over the top because he's still trying to get used to playing this inverted fullback position. So he does get caught out, but I'm
the
more
biggest
confident
problem for
in
me,
a
Ross,
Celtic
and
team.
I'll leave it at this, right? The biggest problem for me is in order to accommodate Taylor coming in to the team, we've had to drop Ralston, who for me has been one of the best players this season. And that's not saying that anything bad against Juranovic on the right, because he's obviously that's where he plays and he's strong there. But we're losing some. I mean, how many goals?
But Ralston hasn't been. He's not been dropped to accommodate Taylor. He plays in a different position.
No, he has though, because
Ralston's been dropped to accommodate Juranovic to play him in his proper position, and then Taylor's been played in his proper position.
That's a.
But anyway, we'll hear something from Willie. We'll hear something from Willie on it.
Thank Christ. I totally agree with Ross and totally disagree with John. Juranovic wasn't brought in as a left back, so he's not. I'm aware of that. He's not dropping Ralston for Taylor. He's dropping Ralston for Juranovic.
He's dropping Ralston for Juranovic because Taylor's came in.
No, because he's
back for injury. Sorry,
but he's not a left back. We've sat at the start of the season talking about square pegs and round holes and all the rest of it. That is Juranovic for me in the left back position. I'm not saying he did a bad job. I thought he did decent there. I don't think he set the world alight. I think he's obviously far better on his favoured right side.
You think Taylor's not setting the world alight?
It winds me up that Taylor. No, not at all. But neither is Juranovic. What I'm saying is, it honestly winds me up that Taylor gets so much stick after fans. I think he gives everything he's got. I'm not saying that and I do agree with you. He's not the best player.
By far the finished. He's not the finished.
And we could probably. I mean, we will eventually probably get a better left back in, and he'll be our backup left back. But for me,
but right now he's our best option for that position.
Think so. And I'll tell you why as well. Like with regards to us going forward. See when Juranovic played left back, and see this style that Ange wants to play. Our wingers, like Jota and Abada, yes, they hit the byline on occasions, but the majority of the time they're coming inside, and it's the wing backs that give us the width. I don't think Juranovic did that when he was left back often enough. I think Taylor does. I'm not saying, and Taylor's final ball and delivery and everything you're saying, I think I agree. He's not the best in the world, but he does give us that width and he does give us that overlap. And I just think he's just made the scapegoat for everything. I think he gives the ball away. So does Hatate gave the ball away countless times last night, but he's the best thing since sliced bread because he's came in and he's like a new hero. I just think that as soon as Greg Taylor has one wayward pass, it's like, he's fucking rotten, get him at the side. And I think it's unfair. I really do. I think he's a proper player, and I think he gives us everything he's got every time he goes on the pitch. Just like Ralston does. Ralston's exact same on the other side. His delivery's not great. He works his socks off. He's a fairly decent defender. He's been excellent for us this year, and he's scored goals. But I don't think he's too dissimilar on the other side than Taylor is on that side. I really don't. If you're saying that Ralston's like one of the best, he has added
goals, I suppose. But
definitely, 100%. He's a bigger, stronger lad. But I'm trying to weigh it up for Ralston's never ever going to be your number one right back in the future. I'm a massive fan, and I think I've said that he's one of our players of the year this year, and he definitely is. And I think it is a bit unfair that he's been put at the side, but I can see with Juranovic coming in, and I just think it's really, really unfair. Ralston 2 or 3 years ago wasn't good enough either. Couldn't get in the side, and he's rotten. Now he's their best player.
I think that Juranovic is in front of Ralston.
How long has Taylor been at Celtic now?
2.5, 3 years.
2, 3 years.
3 years, right? We'll say 3 years. In that 3 year, he's played regularly. He's been our starting left back, right?
Top assister last season. See you later.
Listen, has he actually? Has he improved? Has he added anything to the team?
If you look at the stats last year, Ross is bang on. I'm pretty sure he had most assists, most crosses, hit the byline most, all the rest of it, and he still gets made it to be the scapegoat. I don't understand.
Listen, like I said, I'm not going to sit here and slate his work rate. I'm not saying he doesn't work hard. I'm not saying he doesn't run his heart out. I'm not saying, like I said, he's probably a lovely guy, and I'd probably love to go out with a pint with him. He'd probably be a decent laugh, eh? But as a footballer, I don't think he's good enough for
Uh,
Celtic.
And by the
I think
way,
that's
John,
unfair.
say, to be honest with you, that's fair enough. You're probably in a majority of Celtic supporters that think like that, and me and Wally are probably in a minority. But me and Wally are right.
Good, get up, you.
Nah, again, what I liked? I liked his wee angry face last night.
Aye.
I don't know who it was at. It was one of the Hearts players.
Listen,
Sitting in that. It was with Jota.
I'll
Devlin, I think.
applaud. Aye,
Aye, Devlin.
Devlin, aye. I'll applaud any Celtic player that stands up for their teammates like that.
Aye.
Because that's what they're a team. They should be doing that for each other. And fair play to Taylor. He got himself. He didn't need to, but he got himself involved, and he clearly was raging. But he's still no.
Well, listen, we'll agree to disagree. I thought I would bring that up because I knew it would be a good wee chat and we'd take a good laugh at it.
Aye, we've not had a fight in the podcast for a while. John comes back first week and that's it.
Well, I think
First
it was the
man back.
jacket. I think it was the jacket hood that it started it. But anyway, so to sort of quip Stephen, we'll go for a positive and end on a negative. No, not quite a negative, but I thought James Forrest last night was kind of quiet. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's a don't care what MD says. For me, he's a Celtic legend. But last night I thought he was quiet. What do you think, Wally? Do you think is it still getting up to speed fitness wise, or do you think he's on the way down?
I think so.
Sorry, I was just going to say, for me, I think that he's still trying to go up to speed, sort of thing. But what do you think?
Aye, I think so, mate. He was out for a while there, and he's obviously not been getting regular playing time since he came back. And it seems like it's a bit sort of like the Mickey Johnson, where he's in and then he's playing a game and a half or 70 minutes, and then he's out for 2 weeks again, and it's kind of stop start. I think it's hard for him to get going. I did think he had a poor game last night, but I mean, like you said, the boy's a legend. He'll come good again, and he's still made his impact this year. He scored the goal in the cup semi to get us through. I mean, he's still a massive player for us.
Big game player.
Aye, and there's players going to have poor games. Although I was surprised last night when he taken Jota off with 20 minutes to go, and I was like, this game's no won yet. But I just think he's just trying to get back up to speed again, mate. And it's tough in this when you're coming back from injury and you've got to play this high intensity pressing game. It's no easy to get back in the flow of things. So I mean, James Forrest has still got a massive part to play for us for now until the end of the season and beyond. He's a proper legend, absolute legend of the club.
I totally agree with that. What do you think on that sort of Forrest thing, John?
I would agree. I mean, I still reckon he's got a part to play. Like, well, you mentioned there, he's any player coming back from injury and coming into that team and playing that high intensity football might struggle. I mean, these are all guys that are still getting used to it in the first place. So for people that have been injured for the majority coming in, especially players in that kind of position where they're required to run a lot and work a lot, then I mean, it's I think it's a bit unfair to be so harsh on him because we know what he's capable of. I thought last night, I agree. I thought last night he was poor. He showed elements of the old James Forrest that used to frustrate us, where he was being a wee bit too greedy. Because there was a couple of times last night where I think there was one glaring one in particular where I think it was him and Giakoumakis with one defender between them, and Forrest tried to beat his man, and he should have just touched it across the face. Just by the defender Giakoumakis, he'd have probably scored it.
Right, kind of minded that one, but.
It's when I was screaming at the telly when it happened, and I was just like, he can be too greedy sometimes, and that's when there's better options. I mean, I'll hand it to him. He's obviously still got the confidence to try and beat a man. He's trying at least. He's no flat him and like just passing the ball backwards, for example. But he needs to do better. But like I said, I still think he's capable. And like William says, I think once he's up to speed a wee bit and he's had more minutes in him, then he'll start to hit his stride again.
I agree with that, with the fact that he's like, I think the last few games I've watched him play, I feel like he has taken 1 or 2 touches more than he needs to. When he was flying at his peak, I think it was just all natural. It's just, and I think now he's maybe too much in his own head, thinking about what he's going to do rather than just letting it happen. But he'll come good again. He's too good a player. He's too good a player, not he?
I think, obviously, we know that he's not quite up to speed yet. I don't think he looks just as explosive than now, and I hope that the injury, that he's now lost a yard.
Aye.
Because that would
Definitely
take away from his
like
game. It does at the moment, but I'm hoping that it's just due to needing more minutes. But I mean, time will tell on that. But it wasn't his best performance last night. But again, we won the game, and he like played his part in the game. So I'm going to move on to the sort of post-match interviews. And O'Reilly, John, I thought it was a sort of honest and fair interview. Did you see it?
I didn't, mate, no.
Did you know? No. Oh, well, that's put that to bed then, eh?
He suggested though. What you tell me?
Aye, no. Well, basically, he just sort of said that. Well, he had cramp and stuff, so it was obvious that he was tired. He basically just said that his calves had gave in towards the end, and he was talking about how he'd never played in that sort of atmosphere. And it was on you to him, but he enjoyed it. But I just thought it was quite refreshing to hear him talking like that and just be totally honest. He's only 21, but he talks sort of beyond his years for me. But I mean, I can take that one to Willie if you want, if you've never seen it.
No, I mean, I will comment on it because just based on what you've told me, because obviously we've seen him go down, and it was like we were kind of worried. I hope he's no torso him or anything like that, and it's no another fucking hamstring injury or anything like that. It did just look like cramp. So I'm glad that is the case. But I didn't see his post-match interview, but I do like the honesty. Like you said, if that's what you said, then fine. I think that again, he was thrust into. He's just in the door. He's not had time to adjust to the style of football, the sort of the intensity and the pace of the game as well. So for me, like I say, absolutely incredible debut, and he done his bit. And once he gets up to speed and he's used to it, I think we're on to a winner with him. But I like the honesty.
Aye. I think that they're all sort of taking it for Ange, and
by the way,
once again,
sorry.
So no, go ahead.
Just he mentioned about he's never played in an atmosphere like that, and that's only Tynecastle.
Aye, I know, but see, to be fair, Tynecastle's fucking electric when Celtic come to town at night, or even during the day. It's you're right. They're right in Topy, eh? So it's an electric atmosphere. It doesn't matter night or day.
Wait till he hears Parkhead Wednesday.
Aye, the venom comes to the stands at Tynecastle just adds to it as well. Even like when they're getting Celtic players the ball back, like they hold it as if they've got a game and then they throw it away.
I saw them do that a few times yesterday as well. Aye.
Yeah, I mean, if I was that Celtic player, I'd just bang him.
Aye, I think it was Greg Taylor. Should have subbed him off. Put him right back. Ange, I think sort of they're all taking their honesty for Ange. In his interview last night, once again, he didn't miss whoever was doing the interview. I'll not like say the whole interview, but there was a bit in it he says, theirs is offside, it doesn't matter. We just played really well tonight. You guys want to talk about decisions a lot. He never misses them. He calls every single hangout. It's brilliant. Every single interview, we've got a new thing to talk about with him. What did you think of that, Wally? Oh, it's just superb, eh? It's like it just makes you. I don't know what it gives you a jitters through your body and just makes you feel 10 foot tall. I love the fact that he's because and especially at managers all around the world nowadays, they're like politicians avoiding questions and trying to. And like Neil Lennon was, I mean, he was sort of did, but then he got backed into a corner for a bit and just kind of let loose. But Ange just like he calls it out like it is, and I love it. I loved that last night, and you can see he actually gets wound up as if to say, "Why are you fucking asking me that question?" He's like, "Listen, I just analyse the game."
Angry?
And I love the way how he just calls him mate. He's like, I'm just like analysing the game, mate," and it's just unreal. I've never seen anything like it in a manager, and I run out of superlatives for him. And I think you're right. I think the likes of Joe Hart as well, I spoke about it when he's interviewing as well. He's the exact same. Every time he speaks, I'm like hushing the whole household up just to, I need to hear what he's saying. I thought his post-match was excellent, as usual. Like you say, he never misses a thing. There's not been one time where I've seen him, I keep saying it on this podcast, hate to be his wife. You cannot win an argument with that man because he's always got some comeback or something to say. There's no way.
Aye. I actually, at this point, almost look forward to Angie's interviews as much as I do the game. What's he got to say? Oh, here's the presser. Full 15 minutes of Ange.
Actually watching the game, hoping for a big moment, an offside or a handball, because you can go, yes, he's going to get asked about that after it, and he's just going to put him right in his place.
Aye, absolutely runs whoever it is. They probably dread interviewing him.
Oh, I know.
Do you remember at the start of the season when he came in and we didn't obviously know too much about him, and the only real interview we'd seen him was the one where he did kind of lose the head a bit back in the Australia days where they were calling him for it to be sacked and all the rest of it. And I think we were kind of concerned about, because we know what the Scottish media is like, and we know that they'll try and get under your skin and they'll ask you stupid questions to try and trip you up. And there was a kind of concern, at least for me, and I remember us discussing it, about whether or not he's going to be able to handle it. And we know that the media would take every opportunity to try and trip him up and pull the rug out from under him and whatever else. But see the fact that, like he mentioned, it's absolutely incredible just watching them rip the piss out of these reporters, because they've been doing it for managers up here for years and years and years, and now they've got somebody that they just can't get, and they're so desperately still trying to get him to say something that they can print and twist these fucking words and all the rest of it, but he's just giving them absolutely nothing, and he's just calling them out for the idiots that they are. It's fantastic.
Aye, they want him to bite.
I love how he's like, every time there is a question like that, it's pretty much like a come on, mate, right? Next question. He's the next question. That's just, didn't he be asking them? Patronising
as fuck.
Aye.
Aye. Quite good at that myself.
Patronising, aye.
Oh yeah. Sarcastic, patronising, arsey. I do them all. Anyway, so we'll move on to looking ahead to the Dundee United game at the weekend. Again, it goes for the game at Tynecastle to now the game at Dundee United. The magnitude of this game is, once again, you can't actually say how big it is. You can't describe how big it is. But another 3 points is absolutely what's needed. Would you agree with that, John?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every single game we play between now and the end of the season is massive, and we're not in a position where we can afford to drop points. All we can do is just focus on what we're doing, win as many games as we possibly can, and then hope results go in our favour elsewhere. But just need to focus on us. And if everything falls into place and we do our job right, then we'll win the league, and I think that's all we can ask for.
I think we're for me right now, I think we look the better team. I know Rangers are grinding out and they're not conceding a lot of goals and they're still top of the league. But
can I just say, and I want to just touch on this, right? Because see, through watching Celtic games this season and the way we play football, we dominate possession, and the way teams set up against us, they're happy to play for draws. They just, every man in the box. Hearts, in fairness to them, actually had a go at us in the second half, but very rarely teams are doing that. And we're struggling to sort of break them down. I've watched a couple of Rangers games this season, and it's shocking, disgustingly admitting that, but I've watched a couple, and the same teams don't set up the same against them. So it's like you're seeing us going up against a St Mirren or a Livingston, and then it's like we're maybe grinding out a result 1-0, and it looks a lot more favourable to them than it does on us. And then Rangers are playing them the next following week or whatever, and then winning 4-0, 5-0, or whatever the case is. But see, these games, man, they don't set up the same. And see if Rangers open them up against us, we like you said, I think we're the better team, and we will punish them. Well, this is me just talking about Wednesday, but we'll get to that. But in terms of Dundee United, it's the same, man. It's like I fully expect them to sit back. I fully expect them to play for a draw. They'll be happy with that. I mean, they'll know if they see an opportunity to counter-attack us, they'll obviously take it. But I can't imagine that it's going to be too much different from what we've seen most this season. I think we're going to dominate possession. We're going to be on the forefront in the final third in their half for the majority of the game. Another 75 shots outside the box, whatever the case may be. But it's how many we convert, and that's the most important thing.
Aye, I think what you're saying there, like, I think teams are probably more frightened to open up against Celtic than they are Rangers because, well, I'm not saying Rangers haven't got good players, but I think we are more dynamic going forward. We've got more pace. I just think that teams know that if they open up against us, we'll punish them more than what Rangers do. But I mean, Willie, your thoughts on the magnitude of this game at the weekend against Dundee United?
It's massive. It's going to go to and fro for now until the end of the season, I think. I mean, we're all sitting watching the game last night, and with 20 minutes to go, Livy are holding out at Castle Grayskull, and we're flying, and you're thinking, oh, we're going to get ground here, and then all of a sudden there's a missed penalty, and then they've scored, and you're like, that could have all of a sudden went for 1 point in it to 7 points. You know what I mean? So it's going to go back and forth. I'm expecting pretty much the same as what we've had in the Hearts game there against Dundee United. I think they're a decent side. We made a couple of decent signings in the window as well, and I think it'll be a tough game. But I do think we'll come away with the result. I think that this window's been massive for us. Managed to get a bit of depth in the squad again now, and I think that we are looking like, I agree with you, I think we're looking like the best side in the league. It's just a bit matter of getting on the pitch and getting the results and showing it. Aye,
totally agree with that. So, John, what's your lineup? Your predicted lineup?
Given the injuries and that in the international call-ups, I suspect it's probably going to be the exact same as it was against Hearts. I can't see it being much different. I'm kind of in two minds whether or not I want to see Julian play. I'd like to see him get minutes in him because he's back and he's on the bench. But like, I desperately want to see him back in the team. Like, I think I want to see what kind of partnership he can build with Vickers. But at this point in the season, it would potentially a big risk, especially given the fact that we're so close to this next derby game, and that all these points are crucial, and we need to just make sure that we're on top of things. So I think it's, by and large, it'll be likely the very same team that we set up against Hearts.
Aye, I mean, for me, I know what you're saying on the Julian thing, but I just think it's you didn't split up Starfelt and Vickers at this, certainly in these running games anyway, and at this point of the season. But what score do you think it will be?
I'm going to go 3-0.
3-0. And Willie, line up and score?
I think it'll be the same lineup, but I think he might go with Abada instead of Forrest. Like you say, Forrest didn't have the best of games, and Abada, I think he didn't start Abada maybe just because of the wee niggly injury he got in the Alloa game. So, and I think Abada's flying now. So I think you might go back in with him. Other than that, I'm pretty much the same. I don't think there's anybody else that could come back into the first 11, to be honest with you, not in the midfield anyway. Do you see Calmac, by the way? Can look like the Elephant Man. That's a sword one he's got, like,
It wasn't half, but he's chewing jungle.
Aye,
that's a good sign.
Definitely, that's not a fracture. If he's it is. He's not wearing a mask and he's chewing gum. If you
and the bruising's starting to come out as well,
the bruise like the full length of his face.
But it's starting to come out, so I think that's a good sign as well.
I've seen somebody, by the way, I don't know how to look into it, because you kind of, I'm like, I don't listen to any fucking nonsense or rumours, but there was a clip of O'Reilly training. You know how the Celtic do these, we're focusing on this one player today, and it's kind of the story in their social media of how that day. And O'Reilly was in training taking a pass, and somebody said, Callum, and he played it off. So I don't know if he's in training or not.
I think he'll play against Rangers.
You think so?
I think so.
Aye.
I would love it. That would be imagine half an hour before the kickoff and the teams get announced, and you're on the Rangers side and you see that he's playing, you'd be like,
aye. I think Kyogo starts as well.
You think so?
Against Rangers.
Honestly, I believe it. And just keeping things under wraps and he's playing it safe. he's not getting too much away. But I think come the day of the derby, when he announces that team, we're just going to be like, fucking get in.
Aye. Even if he gives us half an hour, 40 minutes,
Aye.
and then has to come off. But aye, what do you think the score will be in the weekend?
I'll go 2-0.
Well, I'm the same as you. I think it will be the same team, but I think Abada will come in for Forrest, and I think it will be 2-0 as well. So hopefully either 2-0, 3-0, whatever it is, just get the win and go into the Rangers game next midweek 4 points minimum behind, and try and get it down to a point. That's all we can do.
Definitely.
But
by the way, Ross County are going all right now. I know they got beat
Aye.
last night, but this young boy in the wing looks a player, so you never know.
aye, I mean, on paper, you would fancy Rangers to win,
You
but if they don't, go into it.
I mean, we know they're going to get every fucking helping hand they can get.
Aye.
So we just need to hope that Ross County do what they can to try and minimise that, and don't give them any reason.
Aye. I'm not going to say the trigger word.
Don't say it.
On
Especially after that disgrace yesterday.
Aye. Well, listen, we'll end it on that note, and we'll move on to.
I was getting coiled there. I was ready.
I
to
know.
go.
I could see it. I could see it.
Every podcast has been like 45 minutes the last 3 weeks. John's back on, and now we've got a 6-hour podcast.
It's probably my fault as well, talking shite.
Aye,
but anyway, we'll move on to the quiz and get this wrapped up pretty quick. When Willie beats John.
And John gets them all right.
Foregone conclusion.
Right, so this quiz I've went with like a sort of Vim Jansen, the season that he was there, just that sort of subject, if you like. So we can how it works. 5 questions, best of 5, whatever. I've probably said that wrong, but so
No, it's best of 5. You're right.
Aye, best of 5. Question 1 is what was written on the players' tops when they collected the trophy that season?
Smell the glove.
Smell the glove.
Oh, 1-0, John.
Well done, John.
Question 2. Who scored Celtic's equaliser at Easter Road in Jansen's first league match?
Oh.
That is a tough one, that, because there's other things for that game you remember above this. Just say a name, yeah, tossers.
Let's go
Larson.
No.
Jackie McNamara.
No. I'll give you one more guess each. Defender, big centre half.
Stubbsy.
Who?
Stubbs.
No.
I said.
Did you say, John? Nah, it was Malky Mackay.
All right.
Right, question 3. Who was Jansen's assistant that season?
Murdo McLeod.
Yep.
Fuck.
1 each.
I couldn't get his name.
One
I knew
each.
it. I couldn't get to it. I was like, up.
Question 4. Which Jansen signing made his debut on November 8th, 1997 at Ibrox as a sub?
Paul Lambert.
Well done, John.
Fair play.
Topper. Question 5. What was the score in the final match of the season against St Johnstone?
2-1.
No.
2-0.
Who said that?
I said it first, but I already had a go, so John should probably get it, to be fair.
I think we said 2-0 at the same time there. Did you hear first?
I don't know. I think I heard Willie first, to be honest with you. I think it was Willie.
Right.
But he said 2-1 and then
I did say 2-1 first, so.
Aye, and then I think he said 2-0, but right, well, make it interesting. It's right down to the last question. This is it. What was what number was on? Sorry, can't even read. What number was Bratback wearing when he scored the title
15.
clinching goal? Who said
15.
that? Aye, well done, Wally. John, that was a travesty, man. You deserved that, kid.
Done all right.
I know,
I
that's
did,
what I'm
aye.
saying. You deserved it. It's a travesty while he
Quite
won
proud
it.
of myself.
That's really odd, like.
He won it on a technicality. We'll give him that.
I know.
Aye. Well, so you can
Nah,
blame
well
me.
done. Listen, I'm happy I even got the ones I did.
Paul Lambert's
Aye.
a shout, by the way.
That was the answer of the quiz. Like, I didn't think Ennies would get that, because obviously at that time you could make signings throughout the season pretty much.
That's
So
right. Aye.
it could have been a number of players. So it was a good one to get. But I mean, that brings us to the end of the podcast. Have you enjoyed me hosting and enjoyed yourselves?
I have, mate. I don't think we've missed
Yes.
Stephen that much, to be fair. I think the last two
Stephen,
Nah.
have
Stephen,
been the best
Stephen
ever.
who?
In case anybody's wondering, any of the viewers are wondering where Stephen is, by the way, we actually took a vote in the podcast and voted him totally off the podcast, so he's never coming back. Nah, we're joking. We're joking. We need
Nah,
Stephen. We need that
he's
big
got-
silky Irish accent.
He's got the COVID, so.
Aye.
And one of the other things we're doing, one of, like, obviously Ross, outstanding job hosting. Same with you the other night, William.
Aye.
We're trying to just mix things up a wee bit. Stephen's obviously been hosting the show since it started, and we're all just trying to get everybody taking turns and everything else. So I think it's fantastic that you're all stepping up and doing the job. It's giving Stephen a wee break, and like I said, it's allowed me to come back and not do it. So
Aye.
I'm loving it. And listen, I'm absolutely buzzing to be back as well. I've missed it.
Aye.
You don't know how many
Aye,
times
yeah.
I've been sitting watching the episodes and I've
missed
been
you, mate.
editing the episodes, and I'm sitting.
What you saying,
I'm
Wally?
choking.
I said we missed on. Aye, we missed him, like.
Aye, we did. Aye, we definitely did.
Aye, because
But I know
I'm
where
sitting
you are. I know
watching
what you
these
mean.
episodes back, and I'm editing them and that, and I'm uploading them, and I'm sitting there, like, you're asking questions, and I'm like, I wish I could answer that.
He's talking pish.
Aye, I just want to butt in. Like, I'm like, you're talking. I do, man. I sit and I'll listen back and I'll butt in. I'm like, no,
99% of the viewers probably say that as well, to be fair.
Aye.
Listen,
He's
that's
talking
what
pish.
you want. You want that interaction. I just
Aye.
want to say a couple other things as well.
Aye, go for it,
like
John.
I said, Ross, outstanding hosting, mate. I think everybody's been fantastic when they've been asked to step up and do it. Just quick update about stuff coming up. Obviously, we're looking to start. As you know, our episodes go. We record on a Monday and a Thursday, and the episodes go out on a Tuesday and a Friday. At the minute, they're going out at 8 o'clock Tuesday, Friday. And we do a premiere on YouTube where people can come and have a chat with us. Most of us are generally there. And we're chatting to people if they want to have a chat and get involved in the conversation and stuff as well. So I think that's fantastic, and thanks to everybody who's been coming and tuning in. We are actually looking to go live very soon, though, so we'll be able to do it live, and we'll talk to you live and bring up comments and all that other stuff. So just keep tuning in, and thanks again for everybody's support. And it's been incredible, the journey that we've been on since it started. And William, you touched on it. You said it perfectly. We're just 6 silly wee laddies just want to talk about Celtic, and it's just grew arms and legs, and it's turned into this thing now. We've had Hollywood celebrities on, we've had ex-footballers on, we've got relationships building with other Celtic podcasts, and they've all been really supportive of us and that, and it's been fantastic. So thanks to everybody who's been listening and tuning in, and make sure you hit like, subscribe, comment, all that other shit. Cheers.
I just echo that. But just to finish off, thanks for coming on, boys, and everybody stay well, keep safe, hail, hail.